we find that nostalgia is a way to restore a sense of personal meaning.
Well, the tapping of the typewriter does actually make people gravitate toward it, like a memory, like a smell of something pulls you back to a place. So does the tapping of the keys.
By definition, a nostalgia is a pleasant memory from the past, right? So nostalgia is described as sort of a complex emotional state. I don't want to call it an emotion, but sort of an emotional state, which is a sort of a combination of bitter and sweet.
When we refer to nostalgia, it's this experience that's an emotional experience, but it also involves some sort of reflecting on some sort of memory. So on the emotional side, it's a complex emotional experience. It contains elements of sadness and loss, but it also contains elements of really joy, happiness, a sense of fulfillment.
I did grow up in a typewriter business, so we took trade-ins when somebody wanted to buy a new machine. And so, like a car, you got money off of your new purchase. So we accumulated a lot of typewriters through 3 generations of this type of business, sales and repairs. Our family business did very well until about the 80s, when the big box stores started to sell typewriters. There was no service, there was no salesman showing you how to use it or what to do with it. And of course the computer. Whoops, and then I jammed 2 keys. So I just pluck them down, go back 1 space, and continue on.
To a certain extent, there's always an appetite for nostalgia, that people, they experience things from their past, their youth, whether it's music, whether it's movies, and those are the things that they sort of latch onto, that they have special memories about. And it's fun to revisit those things because it sort of helps us reclaim our youth. It helps us feel good. They make us feel happy.
It is therapeutic. It's somewhat of a meditation in that you have to really center yourself, and your thoughts and your hands and your feelings are all engaged at once to put your words on this page.
People are also more likely to experience nostalgia when they're feeling down, and it boosts their mood a little bit. It doesn't actually get them out of the funk that they're in, right? But it kind of helps a little bit, sort of like a cold medicine. It sort of masks the symptoms for a while.
I mean, I'm straddling my life of the 20th century and the 21st century, and I thought perhaps I could bring this into the 21st century as a pop historian. While I was quarantining for the past year in the pandemic, I took all the typewriters out of the cellar and created a mini typewriter museum, which displays the antiques, the really old antiques and rare, and some of them have different language keyboards and keyboards you've never seen because you see the transition of the technology.
Perhaps the typewriter museum, you'll see this trend where people are attracted to technology or culture that that was really before their time, right? And I think that it goes back to this idea of discontinuity, that sometimes there's this sense, like in terms of who we are and our identity, that the culture that's out there really doesn't match us, like how we feel. And maybe we feel more at home in another time period, right? Or maybe, particularly if we're feeling kind of worn out by society or the stresses of modern society, that could create this sort of desire, like, I don't belong here, I don't fit here. Where I would fit and I would belong in the 1920s or something like that, right?
And so there's sort of this collective kind of nostalgia for the good old days when you didn't have to work very hard and everybody was poor, but everybody had the same. And so you didn't have a lot of stress and you could hang out with your friends and just life was easier then.
One of the things that we find consistently in the psychological research is that distress triggers nostalgia. So negative feelings negative experiences make us feel bad, and we recruit nostalgia to feel better.
It's a really sweet time out. And it's sentimental because most people start to think about their grandparent or high school, depending on your age. And so it's always a soft and warm memory, which I really enjoy.
Brings back or the flooding of relationships with those special experiences, right? And it feels good. We want to experience those things again, right? And so we're attracted to them.
Hey everyone, Cody Broadway here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the NBCLX YouTube channel. Be sure to click here for more videos and also click here to subscribe to join the NBCLX community.